We just couldn't resist this particular bite because this does sum up the way that the elite liberal press does feel about the Hunter Biden story. They're trying to spin it in every which way they can. Both Nicholas Kristof and now Anna Navarro over at The View have settled on the line, which is that the real story behind Hunter Biden is the love of a father between a son. Here's what she had to say.
I've known Joe Biden since he was a senator for about 20-some years. I can't tell you how much his life has been marked by losing not one child, but 2 children.
Yeah.
And once you've lost a child, I think you are absolutely determined. It's even more urgent. It's even a bigger issue that you will not lose another one.
Yeah.
The Hunter Biden story, the scandal, the this, the that, it's also the story of a father's love. And Joe Biden has never and will never give up on his son Hunter, and will never treat him lesser than. And so he is a father first. Take it or leave it. That's who he is. That is part of his heart. There was 380 people at this dinner. It's not like Hunter was sitting at Merrick Garland's lap. It was a bunch of people, and I think part of the reason that Hunter Biden has been able to get out of addiction is because Joe Biden embraced him entirely, the entire time. Yeah. When he was vice president, when he was candidate, when he was out of office, and now as president.
Wow, so it's just all about fatherly love. I mean, here's why people should be mad. You know, if you're a normal person and your dad is not the president of the United States or the vice president of the United States, you would have been locked up long ago. Your father's love wouldn't have been able to get you out of some terrible jams in our criminal justice system, and very likely you would be in a real hard way right now. You'd probably be bankrupt. Now, instead, his fatherly love effectively allowed Hunter to grift off of his name for his entire life, to enable his addiction, to get out of scrapes, to literally act like a thug in these text messages, blackmailing foreign governments to pay him off, and then use that love now to try and shield yourself from legitimate questions around these dealings.
Yeah.
is the most disgusting form of cynicism that we have seen yet. And here's the thing, you think Trump doesn't love his children? I'm sure he does. It's still gross. Well, maybe, I don't know. Or some of them. Loves some of them. And, you know, that's not an excuse for acting bad. If anything, you know, having that has always been a problem. Like Bill Clinton's pardoning of Roger Clinton, or Jimmy, what was his screw-up name's brother? Billy Carter, I think.
That
was his
sounds
name?
right. I don't know.
Whatever. Yeah, I mean, the point, though, is that it has always been called out as wrong and as bad whenever you use the public service in your office
Billy,
in order to
right.
Billy Carter. I know.
Yeah.
In order to give benefits to the people who you are related to.
I mean, I really think this clip is so revealing because she actually says up front, like, I've known Joe Biden for decades. Mm-hmm. And clearly that sense of personal friendship has, in addition to like the partisan valence of this, but the fact that so many of these media figures know Joe Biden, they've known Joe Biden for years, they have warm fuzzies about him, they have personal stories about him, and he is a good politician in terms of, I mean, this was the problem. Bernie Sanders couldn't like throw a punch at him because he felt warmly towards Joe Biden. That is in some ways his superpower. And it's very common also in DC where you have all of these incestuous relationships. And then it colors the way that supposed journalists and analysts are able to cover events. So Anna Navarro makes what I think is a very common mistake here in New York of viewing this all through the most charitable possible lens because of her own personal relationship here. Whereas if you had the same set of facts with regards to Donald Trump and Kushner or Ivanka or whatever, and you don't have the personal relationship and you don't have the partisan allyship, you'd have a very different commentary. You'd have a very different assessment of what that meant, because instead of giving the absolute most charitable reading, you would give the absolute most nefarious reading. Now, you know, maybe you could say, like, well, Trump has kind of proven himself to be a pretty nefarious actor, so some of that is fair. But Joe Biden has also proven over the long years of his tenure here in Washington to allow a lot of grifting off of his name. I mean, I'm talking from the very beginning. And I will never forget when we had Ryan Graham on Rising back in the early days, and he had like an encyclopedic knowledge of every documented corrupt business deal that was from his brother and his, family members, his children, whatever, trading on the Biden name to try to personally enrich himself. So it's not like there's no track record of this stuff and it would come out of the blue. At the most, he was directly involved in these deals. He was getting the 10%. He was personally, financially benefiting. There's a sort of a second possibility, which is that Hunter is also texted about like helping to support the whole family financially, that even if Joe Biden wasn't directly getting a cut, that he was secondarily benefiting from these business deal Hunter was doing by, helping to fund his own lifestyle and whatever he needed. That's a possibility. But at the very least, it's clear he allowed his own son to trade off his name in a way that is highly detrimental to public trust and overtly corrupt. Like, if you can't admit that, then you just are not an honest actor.
I 100% agree. I think it's disgusting, and I think it's it's even worse. I think that only people like us will even be able to point this out. We happily do segments here on Jared Kushner as well. We do it all the time, but unfortunately, that's just not how our media ecosystem is, and that's really why the country is so broken. And it really is because of an attitude like that.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.